What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another very exciting episode of our Project Lifted Civic build. My name's Ben. I'm one of the digital media producers here at S3 Magazine, and this week we finally got the car running on its own. Take a listen to this. Yeah. So like you just heard, that car is very, very rowdy. And it took a lot of steps to get there. So let me kind of give you a little bit of a backstory. About 2 months ago, we quickly realized that the B-Series harness was not going to work with the B-Series motor in the car because the CR-V's ECU is different than the D-Series ECU, whereas everything's kind of in one package in the car. As far as the ECU goes, it has the TCU and everything that makes the car run in one. The CR-V ended up having a spare pigtail off of it to control the TCU. We then had to make some modifications to the D-Series harness, and thank you to the guys at HA Motorsports for getting us a completely custom harness adapter for that thing. And as you heard, it works just fine, so we're really stoked about that. Not only did we have to use that harness adapter, but then we also had to modify the D-Series harness out several feet in some locations for certain sensors. And then we got it all on the car, got it all plugged up, minus the NOx sensor. The NOx sensor ended up being something that is for use on VTEC cars. So this is a non-VTEC car. It runs just fine without that. And then we had to, this week, elongate the fuel lines. So the fuel hoses that go at the very back of the car to the fuel tank, as well as the connectors and wiring for the fuel pump, the sender, gauges, everything. So I had to run to our local hydraulic supply company, and the guys there were super knowledgeable and got us exactly what we needed first try. It ended up going really well. The original connector was like this plastic piece that went onto the fuel hose, and it just wasn't like the best. I mean, it worked for years and years, but they got us hooked up with some metal two-piece fittings on the end of a very nice corrosion resistant and scuff resistant hose for the fuel lines. And that plus another bit of fuel hose to get everything to work correctly. We got it all plugged up. We relocated the tank into the trunk and took all of the wiring up into the vehicle, as well as some of the fuel lines. So the fuel lines also had to go inside of the car just very briefly at the rear seat. It kind of goes underneath the cushion material. And so what we're going to end up having to do is make like a little tunnel or something. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But it's really not much at this point, and it looks legitimate. It's so cool to see all of this custom fab work coming to a nice point where everything looks super professional. It is super professional. So yeah, once we started priming the fuel pump up, we gave it a couple of tries, quickly realized that the ignition switch was kind of bouncing the key back out of the start position, out of run. And it was after Jake realized that it had gone back several times that he slowly turned the key back, and that's what ended up making the car run for the first time. And he got out and the car was running, and I was just like overjoyed because it took a combination of all of these things together working in harmony for that car to run on its own. And I still can't believe it. There really wasn't any major hiccups. We didn't tighten down some of the hose connectors and had a little bit of a fuel leak, but that was like the most minor of missteps that could have ever happened on this entire setup. That was the last thing on my mind, was like, oh, we might have a fuel leak. No, it was like, oh, is this thing going to run? Is it, did we do all of our wires correct? We must have elongated like 40 wires in total, like multiple connectors. The back was like 10 alone for the fuel wire harness, and all that elongated out about 6 feet per one. So we went through some spools of wire for sure. So now, where do we go from here? Well, we're going to now shift our focus to getting the front end completely assembled, since we have pretty much everything that we need there. Put the front brakes on it, put everything together. Then we're going to work on a rear brake setup. I'm going to order some rotors, calipers, and hoses for the back, as well as the pads, of course. And get the rear brake setup going here very soon. And we got word from our lift kit sponsor, HRG Engineering, saying, hey, no problem on the rear diff mount to lower it down. Should be another few weeks, and then we'll have that custom piece ready to go. That piece is going to allow the diff to sit level with the front of the car, and then we'll be able to put the drive shaft in, test fit everything, make sure it all works, and then get to work on getting the rear end installed. Very excited about these next few weeks. We've got what I personally would consider the worst part out of the way. This was the one thing looming in the back of my mind for the past 7 or 8 weeks now. Is it going to run? Are we going to have to abandon this? And I'm very, very happy to announce that it runs beautifully. So can't wait for the next step. And of course, be sure to go check out Slightly Mangled here on YouTube. I know I say it every week, but I genuinely mean it. You're not going to want to miss this one. You need to go check out this video, and check out the last video as well, where I go in and I start modifying the wiring harness. It looks super weird looking at me time-lapsed going through all of the wires laid out on the table at his house. It's super cool, super fun, and you should really go check that out, subscribe, and if you're not already subscribed to us here on YouTube, we'd appreciate it. Give this video a like if you like it. That's how I know how we're doing, how many people are watching it. It's good to know that people are watching our stuff. Let me know if you guys have any other suggestions for us. And then also, I have been playing a whole lot on Forza Horizon 5. Come join me, it's a whole lot of fun. I mostly mess around in photo mode and drift around the map with some Formula Drift cars, and that's pretty much it. Just going and having fun. But yeah, I hope to see y'all out there. I'll include my gamer tag somewhere down here somewhere. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. I'll catch you in the next one. Later.